Okay, so you're trying to wrap your head around what really matters, right? Like, get to the heart of it quickly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're all about here.
Absolutely.
We've got the set of Aruba security practice exam questions for today's deep dive. And we're not going to just, like, focus on memorizing the answers.
Right.
It's more about, like, understanding the core ideas, the concepts behind them. It's kind of like your secret weapon to getting how Aruba thinks about security,
Yeah, exactly.
Like going beyond just kind of rote memorization
Mm-hmm.
and really diving into the why behind these solutions.
Yeah, and I think by taking a look at these questions and how they're explained, we can really pull out some practical knowledge about how Aruba approaches security for networks.
All right, so let's jump right in.
Okay.
First question. Which Aruba solution enables role-based access control, RBAC, to enforce security policies based on user identity and device type? And the answer, it is Aruba ClearPass Policy Manager.
Yeah.
So what's, like, the deeper meaning here? What's really going on?
The real key with ClearPass is how it covers everything,
Okay.
what we call AAA. Authentication, authorization, and accounting.
Okay.
So think of it this way. Authentication is basically like proving you are who you say you are.
Right. Right.
Authorization is figuring out what you can do once you're in.
Uh-huh.
And accounting is keeping track of what you did, what you accessed.
Makes sense.
ClearPass looks at all of that stuff, right?
Yep.
Plus other things like what device you're using,
Oh, wow.
maybe even your location, to make really specific decisions about who gets in and what they could do.
So it's not just a simple, like, username and password kind of thing.
No.
It's looking at, like, a much wider picture
The big picture.
before it says yes or no.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this kind of sounds like it ties into that whole idea of identity and access management, IAM.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
IAM, it's that overall framework, right,
Uh,
for managing all those digital identities and what they can access.
Okay.
ClearPass is a really crucial piece of that puzzle. Like, it gives you that fine-grained control that you need,
Right.
especially with how complex networks are these days.
Totally.
It's about moving beyond just automatically trusting anyone who happens to get onto the network.
All right. So our second question dives right into a really, really important concept. Zero trust.
Yeah.
The question is, what is the primary function of Aruba's zero trust security model? The answer. Verifying and enforcing security policies for every single access attempt, no matter where it's coming from.
No matter where.
Like, that's a big, big change in how we think about security, right?
It is, yeah, it's a fundamental shift.
Yeah.
The way we used to do things, it was all about the perimeter, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, once you were inside the network, you were pretty much good to go, trusted.
Yeah, you were in the castle.
Yeah, exactly. You're in the castle.
Yeah.
But zero trust, it says. Nope, we're not doing that anymore.
Right.
The core idea here is never trust, always verify.
Every time.
Every single time.
Every single user.
Every user, every device, every application trying to connect.
It's got to prove itself.
It's treated as potentially untrusted, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if they're already on the internal network or
Wow.
connecting from, like a coffee shop somewhere, doesn't matter.
So it's like we've got the castle walls,
Mhm.
but we're also putting checkpoints inside the castle too.
Absolutely, yeah.
So why is this, like, this always verify approach, why is that so crucial now more than ever, you think?
Well, I mean, think about how much things have changed, right?
Yeah.
With everybody moving to the cloud, working remotely, those network perimeters, they're not so clear anymore.
Right, they're blurry.
Yeah, totally blurry. Plus, you can have threats coming from inside the network just as easily as from the outside.
Oh, that's scary.
It is, yeah.
So someone could already be in the castle
Exactly.
and be a bad guy.
Exactly, yeah.
So with this constant verifying, you're basically trying to limit how much damage can be done, right?
Yeah, you're minimizing the blast radius.
Yeah.
Whether it's, some hacker who got in from the outside.
Right.
Or, like you said, someone inside who's gone rogue.
Mm.
Or whose account has been compromised.
Yeah, it's like a whole different way of thinking about network security.
It really is. It's a fundamental change in how we design and how we think about security architecture.
Okay, moving on to question 3. Which feature of Aruba Threat Defense helps detect and mitigate command and control, C, traffic? The answer is Deep Packet Inspection, or DPI. Now, C2 traffic, that sounds kind of ominous, like something out of a spy movie.
Yeah.
So what is it exactly?
Think of C2 traffic as like the secret communication channels
Okay.
that attackers use to control devices they've already compromised inside your network.
Yes, they're already in.
They're in, yeah.
Okay.
So once they've got like a piece of malware running,
Okay.
it'll usually try to phone home establish a connection back to the attacker's server,
Okay.
their command and control center. That's where they receive instructions,
Right.
send stolen data back, or even launch new attacks.
So it's like a secret operation happening right under our noses.
Yeah, it's happening in the background,
Wow.
and they're trying to be sneaky about it.
So how does this deep packet inspection thing actually uncover what's going on?
Well, you see, most basic traffic analysis, it just looks at the surface,
Okay.
like the envelope of the data packet. You know, where it came from, where it's going, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like the address on the envelope.
Exactly.
Okay.
But DPI, it's different. It actually goes deeper. It looks at the contents.
Oh, wow.
It analyzes the data at the application layer, right?
Uh-huh.
It's looking for specific patterns and signatures that we know are associated with C2 protocols, malicious activity.
So it's like you can actually read the secret message inside the envelope.
Exactly, yeah. Even if they're trying to blend in with all the regular network traffic.
That's wild.
Yeah, and that's why it's so crucial
Right.
for network threat detection.
To really understand what's going on deep down.
You gotta go deeper.
Okay, so question 4. This one's all about the security of wireless networks. Here's the question. Which security technique does Aruba use to protect network communications between access points, APs, and controllers? And the answer is AES-256 encryption with IPsec tunnels. That sounds pretty hardcore.
It is. It is. And it's all about making sure that the communication between your wireless access points, those little boxes that broadcast the Wi-Fi signal,
Yeah.
and the central controllers that manage them, it's all private
Okay.
and hasn't been messed with.
Got it.
Now, AES-256, that's a really strong encryption standard.
Like military grade.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like scrambling the data.
Okay.
Using this super complex code,
Yeah.
the 256, that refers to the key length.
Right.
And the longer that key is, the harder it is to crack.
Exponentially harder.
Exponentially, yeah.
Okay.
So it's really tough to break.
And what about those IPsec tunnels? What are they all about?
So the IPsec tunnels, they create a secure encrypted pathway
Okay.
just for the communication between the AP and the controller. Imagine like building a secret armored road between those 2 points.
Yeah.
Even if someone manages to intercept the traffic,
Right.
they hit that IPsec encryption wall first.
Okay.
And even if they somehow got through that, the data itself is still scrambled with that AES-256 encryption.
So it's like double locked.
Double lock, yeah. It's that multi-layered approach.
Right.
That's so important for securing wireless networks because those signals, they're just naturally more exposed than a wired connection.
Right. They're out there in the air.
Exactly.
Someone could be listening.
Yeah, anyone could potentially be listening.
I'm messing with things.
Yeah, so you got to be extra careful.
All right, on to question 5. This one takes us into the cloud. In Aruba's security framework, what is the primary role of a cloud-based SASE secure access service edge architecture? The answer is centralized policy management for remote and branch users. SASE, yes, that's a term that's like popping up everywhere these days.
It is, yeah, it's a hot topic.
So what's the big idea behind it?
Well, SASE is basically all about bringing together network connectivity and security services,
Okay.
all delivered from a single cloud platform.
Right.
The main goal, to make sure everyone has secure access to applications and data, wherever they are.
So it doesn't matter if I'm in the office
Doesn't matter.
or at home or on a beach somewhere.
Exactly.
As long as I'm connected, I'm good.
You're protected, yeah.
So instead of having like separate security boxes for each location, SASE gives you this unified cloud-based solution.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
People are working from everywhere these days, right?
Home, coffee shops, airplanes.
Exactly. It's all over the place. SASE gives you a central point
Okay.
to set those security rules and enforce them
Right, across the whole company, wherever people are.
across the whole distributed environment. Yeah.
So it's not only easier to manage, but it's actually more secure too, right?
Absolutely.
Because you've got consistent protection everywhere
Yeah, and it can scale much more easily.
to meet the demands of, how people work today.
Exactly. If they adapt on.
Right. It's like bringing the security to the user wherever they happen to be.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, question 6 brings some AI magic into the mix. Which 2 techniques are commonly used by Aruba Central to detect network anomalies? Select 2. The answers are AI-driven behavior analysis and machine learning-based traffic monitoring. So it's basically using some smarts to find anything that looks fishy.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's all about moving from just reacting to known threats, right, to being proactive, identifying potential problems before they blow up.
Okay.
Aruba Central, it uses AI and machine learning to constantly learn what's normal for your network.
Okay, so it's building a baseline.
It's building a baseline, yeah.
Then once it knows what's normal, it can flag anything that deviates from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anything suspicious.
Exactly. So AI-driven behavior analysis, that can spot weird patterns
Okay.
in how users are acting, what applications they're using.
Or just the flow of traffic.
Okay.
All those things can be signs of a security breach.
Right.
Or maybe even just a performance issue.
Got it.
And those machine learning algorithms, they're like super detectives.
Mm-hmm.
They can sift through mountains of network data,
Okay.
finding those subtle anomalies that a human would probably miss.
Right.
It's really leveraging the power of data
Yeah.
to get this deep understanding of your network's health and security.
So you can catch things early.
Yeah, early detection and response.
Right.
That's the key.
All right, question 7 asks about dynamic segmentation. What is the main advantage of Aruba's dynamic segmentation in securing enterprise networks? The answer: enforcing role-based security policies across both wired and wireless networks. It sounds like a pretty practical application of that RBAC we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, you're right on the money.
Okay.
Dynamic segmentation takes those RBAC principles
Uh-huh.
and applies them to the actual network infrastructure.
Okay.
It automatically assigns users and devices to specific network segments.
Like little isolated sections of the network?
Yeah, like separate lanes on a highway.
Okay.
And it does this based on their security policies, which are set beforehand.
So let's say, like, the marketing team connects to the network.
Mm-hmm.
They get put on a different segment than the engineering team.
Yeah,
And they can't just, like, wander over and access each other's stuff.
exactly. It's all about limiting the damage
Right.
if one segment gets breached.
So if someone, like, hacks into a device on the guest network, they can't easily jump over to, like, the main corporate network.
Exactly. They're contained.
That's great.
Plus, dynamic segmentation makes sure those security policies are always enforced
Consistently. Across the board.
Whether you're plugged in with an Ethernet cable
Right.
or connected wirelessly,
So it doesn't matter how I'm connecting.
doesn't matter.
The rules still apply.
Same rules for everyone.
It's like a unified security blanket.
Yeah, security blanket.
Okay. Question 8 focuses on guest network access. Which authentication method is commonly used by Aruba ClearPass for guest network access? The answer is SMS-based self-registration. We've all been there, right? Trying to figure out that guest Wi-Fi password.
Fumbling with it.
Typing it in wrong a million times.
Yeah, and those shared passwords, they're not exactly the most secure thing in the world.
Not at all.
ClearPass does it better,
Okay.
more secure, and a lot easier for guests.
Right.
It uses this SMS-based self-registration.
Okay, so how does that work?
So usually the guest puts in their phone number.
On a web page or something?
Yeah, on a little login page.
Okay.
And then ClearPass sends them a unique temporary password or maybe one-time peon
Right to their phone.
right to their phone via text message.
So it's like that two-factor authentication thing that we see everywhere now.
It's a similar concept.
Okay.
It's all about finding that balance
Between security.
and making things easy for people.
Yeah, not making it too complicated.
Exactly, because if it's too complicated, people will find workarounds.
Right, they'll just try to bypass it.
Yeah, and that defeats the purpose.
All right, so we're almost there. Question 9, this one's a bit broader. How does Aruba's network access control, NAC, enhance enterprise security? The correct answer is, it dynamically assigns security policies based on device compliance and user role. We talked about NAC a bit earlier, but this really shows how proactive it is.
It is, yeah.
Always checking things.
Always checking.
So explain this a little more.
Okay, so NAC, it's a really important security control.
Okay.
It's not just about saying yes or no to a device trying to connect. It's more than that.
Right.
Aruba's NAC, it's constantly assessing
Okay.
the security health of those devices.
Like a doctor giving a checkup?
Yeah, a security checkup.
Okay.
It checks for things like up-to-date antivirus software, the latest operating system patches,
Right.
and whether the device is following the company's security rules.
So if my laptop doesn't have the latest security updates, what happens?
Well, that depends on the policies that are set, right?
Yeah.
If a device isn't up to snuff, it might be totally blocked.
Okay.
Or maybe it's put into a quarantine zone.
Timeout corner.
Yeah, a timeout corner.
Okay.
Where it has limited access.
Okay.
Just enough to fix the problems.
Get it updated.
Exactly.
And then once it's healthy, it can come back into the main network.
Yeah, back to the party.
Okay.
But the point is, the access level is determined by both the user's role
Okay.
and how healthy their device is.
Right. So both who you are and what you're using to connect.
Exactly. And that really reduces the risk of
Yeah.
compromised or vulnerable devices bringing trouble into the network.
It's like, yeah, we trust you, but we don't trust your laptop right now.
Oh, exactly. We got to make sure everything's clean.
Okay, last question. Number 10. This one looks at how we secure remote sites. Which two security features of Aruba SD Branch help protect branch networks from cyber threats? Select 2. The correct answers: integrated IDSPs for threat detection and zero trust policy enforcement at the branch level. So SD Branch is all about making sure those remote locations have the same level of security as the main office, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that branch offices, they're not just like little offshoots anymore.
Right.
They need their own serious security.
Right. They're
They're
important.
critical, yeah.
Okay.
So Aruba SD Branch includes this intrusion detection and prevention system, IDSPs.
Okay.
It's constantly watching for threats and blocking malicious traffic
Right then and there.
right at the branch level.
So it doesn't have to wait for like instructions from headquarters or anything?
Yeah, it's autonomous.
Okay. And the zero trust part, that means that never trust, always verify thing. That applies to the branch too, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Zero trust isn't just for the main network.
Right. It's everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. So with SD Branch, you've got that same level of strict authentication and authorization for anyone trying to access resources within the branch.
So it's like, even though you're out there on your own, you're still playing by the same rules.
Same rules apply, yeah.
That's really good.
It's about consistency.
Yeah.
And with this combination of like proactive threat detection from the IDSPs
Okay.
and that strong access control with zero trust,
Uh-huh.
it really beefs up the security of those branch locations.
Right. Which can be vulnerable.
Yeah, because they might not have like a dedicated IT team out there.
Right. They're on their own.
Yeah, so they need that extra layer of protection. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. I hope you found it as insightful as I did.
It was a pleasure being here.
It's been great chatting with you.
Likewise.
Until next time,
Take care.
stay secure out there, folks.
Stay safe.